Welcome back to 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Gitsky. We begin with a public hearing underway on a much-debated ordinance to streamline Kern's oil and gas permitting process. The ordinance would add more than 40,000 new wells to the county by 2036, a boom to oil industry jobs. Kern Citizens for Energy saying it estimates an additional 25,000 openings, but environmental activists aren't sold on it.
Allowing oil and gas drilling to occur in neighborhoods, near schools, near homes, near hospitals, is completely inappropriate.
What keeps me up at night is whether we'll have permitting support in the state to put people back to work. Now, permitting is a controllable element of the business environment that really needs help.
The meeting is set to last all day, and a decision may not be made until tonight. We will have more on the hearing tonight on 17 News at 5. And now to other big news within the hour. Governor Gavin Newsom is set to make a stop in the Central Valley, not far from Kern County. 17's Eitan Wallace joins us live from the town of Earlimart with a preview of the governor's visit. Eitan?
And Nicole, good afternoon. Earlimart is just a little bit north of Kern County. It's in Tulare County, but it's about 15 minutes north of Delano, and roughly 8,500 people live here according to the 2010 U.S. Census data. Now, here, just like many towns in the Central Valley, there is a vaccination site here for to be used for vaccinating people for the against the COVID-19 virus here. So that brings us to why the governor is here today. He's here to tour the facilities, and we understand he will get a tour of the operation. His office says he's here to, quote, highlight the state's vaccine equity metric, which will increase vaccinations in the hardest hit communities. This comes just days after the governor gave 17 News an exclusive one-on-one interview. During that conversation, Governor Newsom told me his new plan to allocate 40% of all vaccination doses to roughly 400 vulnerable areas statewide. That includes Earlimart, Delano, Arvin, Wasco, and other parts of Kern. And back here live, the governor is set to arrive here in this town in Earlimart in just a few minutes. And we will have a recap tonight on 17 News at 5. We'll see you then. Reporting live in Earlimart, Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
All right, thanks for that, Eitan. Now, promising news, coronavirus cases continue to fall, indicating our county may soon move into the less restrictive tier as soon as tomorrow. 65 new cases were reported today and no new deaths. We're seeing an average of about 150 people getting infected every day. We haven't been that low in 4 months. Just 2 months ago, Kern was in the middle of the worst days of the pandemic. Those numbers bring the county's total to more than 104,000 people testing positive and 942 lives lost. Nearly half of the deaths reported come from just December and January. Meantime, our hospitals are in much better shape than 2 months ago. State data shows 118 people are in the hospital with coronavirus. 33 are in the ICU. And if you don't know, these are the symptoms for COVID-19. The most common include fever, a dry cough, meaning there won't be mucus, fatigue, and difficulty breathing. Less common symptoms include aches and pains, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, and diarrhea. Remember, you may be sick with the virus up to 2 weeks before developing symptoms. Now, keep in mind, flu symptoms are similar, but muscle and joint pain, a runny nose, and headache will be more common for the flu. Meantime, a lot of people have allergies right now. Those symptoms include sneezing, coughing, a runny or stuffy nose, and itchy eyes. And it's important to note, although you may want to rub your eyes, don't touch your face. That's how viruses like COVID-19 and the flu can spread. Again, if you think you have symptoms of coronavirus, call your doctor before going to their office. And the CDC is putting out new guidelines on mask wearing. If you have been fully vaccinated against the coronavirus, then you may want to listen up. The agency says fully vaccinated people can visit with other fully vaccinated people inside without wearing masks or physical distancing. They can also visit with unvaccinated people from a single household who are at low risk for severe disease, also without wearing a mask or physical distancing. They also do not need to quarantine after a known exposure, as long as they have no symptoms. However, the CDC says it's still important to wear a well-fitted mask and practice social distancing in public and avoid medium and large-sized in-person gatherings. The CDC defines fully vaccinated to mean that at least 2 weeks have passed since a person has received the second shot of the 2-dose vaccine or 1 dose of a single-dose vaccine. Now, as the vaccine rollout continues, it's important to know who is eligible to get the shot. As of now, we are still in phases 1A and 1B. Those eligible include anyone 65 or older, healthcare workers and first responders, plus teachers, childcare workers, those in emergency services, and people who work in the food and agriculture industry. And if you are in one of those eligible groups, you can sign up for a vaccine appointment using the state's website, myturn.ca.gov. You can also call 833-422-4255 to schedule an appointment. And appointments to receive the COVID-19 vaccine are available from Kern Public Health. The mass vaccination site at the fairgrounds reopens Wednesday, and distribution will last through Saturday. Public Health says vaccine supplies remain extremely limited, so try to book your appointment as soon as you can on the state's website. And if you need a ride to your vaccine appointment, the county's got you covered. It's launching a transportation service to the COVID-19 mass vaccination clinic at the fairgrounds. The Department of Aging and Adult Services will help you set up your appointment and the ride. To schedule, call 868-7090. Now to a deadly crash overnight off of Alfred Harrell Highway. Now, according to California Highway Patrol, it happened just after 1 a.m. east of Hart Park. CHP says a white Acura RSX approached to turn at high speeds before driving off the roadway into a ditch. The car landed on a pedestrian walkway about 12 feet below the roadway. The Acura overturned and stopped upside down in the embankment. CHP says speed and alcohol appear to be factors in the crash. The driver, whose identity has not been released, was pronounced dead at the scene. The crash is now under investigation. And about at the same time, a pedestrian was hit and killed on Highway 99 at Ming Avenue. CHP says they found a man dead lying in the center median. CHP determined the man was walking on northbound 99 when he was hit by a car. The car fled the scene immediately, according to CHP. The collision is under investigation. If you have any information, call CHP at 396-6600. By our count, this is the 12th pedestrian fatality this year. And the investigation continues after a woman's body was found near an orchard northeast of Arvin. The woman's body was found Saturday morning around 6:30 in the area of Tower Line Road and Buena Vista Boulevard. The sheriff's office says the body showed signs of trauma, and homicide detectives have taken over the investigation. The woman's name has not been released, and there's no word on any suspects. Now, it's been 77 days since 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orrin West are reported missing from their home in California City. But there seems to be more movement in the investigation. New developments have brought renewed energy to thousands looking for answers. Most recently, law enforcement searched for evidence in a dirt lot in southeast Bakersfield. It's near the Casa Loma apartments where the adoptive parents of Orrin and Orson West used to live. Kern County Search and Rescue went out with more than 50 Bakersfield police officers and FBI agents to search the grounds.
As far as if any items of evidentiary value were located, I can't get into specifics.
Police also wouldn't say what caused the search party. If you have any information on the boys, you can call BPD at 327-7111 or the Secret Witness Hotline at 322-4040. And jury selection is delayed in the murder trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer accused of killing George Floyd. Floyd died after Chauvin held him to the ground with his knee across his neck for more than 8 minutes. The prosecution asked the Minnesota Court of Appeals for a stay. Prosecutor Matthew Frank said this morning that the state will seek to get the jury selection process halted as the issue of adding a third-degree murder charge makes its way through the higher courts. Judge Peter Calhill said that the likely means the jury selection will not start until Tuesday at the earliest. He agreed to give the prosecution time to write up an appeal this morning. Happening today, Adventist Health Bakersfield is offering free immunizations for kids. A mobile clinic is set up at Greenfield Family Resource Center on Monitor Street until 2 p.m. Now, this is video from last week's event. Children over the age of 5 require an appointment. The vaccines are free for children who don't have health insurance, are enrolled in Medi-Cal, or are American Indian or Native Alaskan. And if you missed today's clinic, don't worry. Another one is set for this Wednesday at the Kern County Department of Human Services. You can find more information on our website at kget.com. Just click on the hot link icon. Well, today is International Women's Day, a celebration that began over 100 years ago in Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland. The purpose of International Women's Day is to recognize all of the achievements of women and bring a call to action for women's equality. 17's Ileana Capian has more.
Every year, International Women's Day is recognized on March 8th. The theme this year is Choose to Challenge. One challenge currently being faced is the COVID-19 pandemic. Denise Soler Cox is the producer and director of the documentary Project Enye. She is one of the 38% of female documentary directors in the business, and this year has brought her and many women more clarity.
I think for a lot of women, they start beginning to think, what could my life be, right? Because we had so many restrictions put upon us, staying at home, kids at home. I mean, so many things that changed. And it really, I think, forces the woman that's ready to make a change and that's dreaming about a change to actually be decisive about that change.
Soler Cox says that a huge reason for the change in mindset is the constant reoccurring issue of the gender wage gap.
Unfortunately, as of the statistics for last year, white women make 81 cents on the dollar compared to their male counterparts. Now, Latina women, of which both you and I are, we're making, I think, 55 cents, 1 penny less than the year before. And that's very upsetting, to sit and think about that and to wonder, how are things going to change? And frankly, I have found a lot of power myself in looking at, what can I do to affect this? What can I change about myself to improve that for me? Because what I do for me actually does affect the collective.
The International Women's Day slogan is, individually, we are all responsible for our own thoughts and actions, all day, every day. We can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality. We can all choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. Collectively, we can all help create an inclusive world.
Fill your life with supportive women. Fill your life with women that celebrate you and that you feel amazing with. Fill your life with people that you believe in and who believe in you. You deserve it.
Purple, green, and white are the colors used to bring awareness to International Women's Day. You can show your support by posting a photo with your right hand held up and the hashtag #ChooseToChallenge. You're choosing to challenge the gender wage gap, gender inequality, and create a more inclusive world for everyone. And President Biden signed 2 executive orders today, both of which address women's rights on this International Women's Day. The first order will formally establish the White House Gender Policy Council. The second one will direct the Department of Education to review policies implemented by former President Trump. Those policies include changes to Title IV regulations that prohibit sex discrimination in federally funded institutions. Administrative officials say this could pave the way to a major shift in how colleges handle allegations of sexual misconduct. Now, as a candidate, President Biden pledged to make women's issues a priority.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.